Hi, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Coalition for African Diaspora Student Athletes, or CADSA's, episode of Alumni Career Talks. I'm your host for today, UC Davis track and field alum and project management team lead, Sochi Bryson. And at CADSA, our mission is to enrich the Black student athlete experience through unity, allyship, advocacy, and resources. Our show, Alumni Career Talks, hopes to get real-life perspectives from our professional community and give them a platform to discuss their journeys, professional and personal ventures, as well as give our student athletes advice for the future. Now, without further ado, CADSA welcomes you and welcomes our guest, Gio Nelson.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing really good. Just getting started for the day a little bit, but everything's going well.
Great. So I guess tell us a little bit about yourself. What university did you go to? What sport did you play? And just, give yourself a brief little intro.
Yeah. So, my name is Gio Nelson. I am a financial advisor over at Modern Woodmen of America. I went to high school out in Southern California. I went to Corona Centennial, played basketball there as throughout my high school career. Going into my senior year, I tore my ACL, MCL, and meniscus. So I actually went into college hurt, so I had to redshirt my first year. I got a couple different scholarships, but at the end of the day, I decided to go to UC Davis. So I was there for 2 years, like I said, had a redshirt the first year. Second year, I ended up transferring out, and I went to junior college. Right, so I was at junior college for a year, Arizona Western, down in Yuma, Arizona. It's pretty in the middle of nowhere, but if you know where it's at, then I guess props to you. But I was there obviously for a year, and then COVID hit. Right, so our season was cut short a little bit. Right, we didn't get to go to playoffs or go to any of, I guess, like the showcase recruiting type of things. So recruiting, I was getting recruited out of JUCO. I mean, it was tough, right? So I ended up walking on at Portland State for a year, and I guess kind of just earned my way up the ranks a little bit, and ended up getting some playing time. The following year, I was put on scholarship, so I guess I got that back, and then I just ended up graduating last year. I got my degree, Bachelor of Science in Communication.
Awesome. That's quite a journey. I know that for a lot of student athletes, the journey through athletics in college is usually not, easy. And so, it's great to see other student athletes who've, made it through and are now in that professional space and, doing what they want to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I guess like going even before college, when you were a little kid,
Yeah.
what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you see yourself, working where you are now, or how did you get there?
No, not at all. I mean, obviously, I was kind of focused on, being a professional athlete, and that was kind of what I was headstrong on. Kind of even up until I'd say 2 years ago, right? Or I guess a year ago now. But yeah, I mean, going into college, I was actually I was pre-med for about two months, biology, and then I got out of that. It just didn't really work with, I guess, what I was doing and trying to do. So switched to communication. When I transferred over to Portland State a couple years later. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the NCAA rule. You have to be like 60% done with your major. Uh,
Mm.
so, I mean, I wasn't able to switch my major from communications to finance or business administration or anything like that just because of that rule. Right. At that point in time, it didn't really make too much sense just because I guess they gave us that year back for COVID. So, I mean, I guess it would have been fine in the long run, but as those are kind of just rules that they had. So
Yeah. Okay. So I guess now that you're in finance, how did you end up there since you were
yeah,
in communications and now, how did you get there?
yeah. So during COVID, I guess when the market dropped, I guess a lot, I was trying to find ways to make money as kind of just like anybody else.
Right.
So I started options trading. I was doing that for a while. It was actually going very well. And I guess if anyone knows anything about options trading, it's very high risk, high return, right? So I guess you could be, up in an investment, $400 and then down, 600 in the next, 30 seconds or whatever, right? That's kind
Mhm.
of options trading. Right when season started, or I guess summer workouts started, I didn't really have the time to trade anymore, just because I guess it's better to trade in the morning for kind of what I guess the type of trading that I was doing. And I'd have workouts at 7 a.m. and then I wouldn't have time to watch the market, right? So
Right.
I was really trying to find different ways to invest money. Maybe more secure ways, or as more planning, more big picture planning.
Mhm.
So I was looking into finance a little bit. Um, about a year and a half ago, I reached out to somebody that I guess I trained with, kind of throughout high school, and he was working as a financial advisor, actually where I'm at right now. And at this point in time, I wasn't, I mean, I wasn't too sure if I was going to go back and take my last year of eligibility, like that COVID year, or kind
Mhm.
of start working. And I asked him, he's like, okay, like if I want to get into this, and I'm thinking about taking my COVID year, right? Should I, master's in finance, to kind of go into this career? What should I do? And he was kind of just like, no, I mean, as long as you have a college degree, I mean, you should be good. A lot of the training and I guess stuff that as you need to know, you learn on the job or through licensing. I
Mhm.
took a whole bunch of licensing tests that you have to take to be a licensed financial advisor. So that's kind of how you learn a little bit with that. So
Yeah. I love that. I love that, you get that on the job experience.
yeah,
So
100%.
valuable. And I guess speaking of on the job experience, from athletics and, doing that for a lot of your life, what do
Mhm.
you think has, translated well into the financial sphere?
Yeah, I would say respect. A lot of people kind of respect your journey, especially if I guess they get to know you a little bit. I mean, it might not seem as significant, I guess, to us, right? Just because we're Division I athletes, we're around these people all the time, but um, as the average person really isn't, right? I would say um, that level of respect, carries on to workspaces and so on and so forth. Um, I guess people, I mean, leadership, people who are hiring, right? Recruiters, they're looking for student athletes, right? I know that I would hear that a lot, and I was kind of just like, oh yeah, okay, like okay, yeah, they do, but they actually do, right? I know that the firm that I'm at, my whole office is student athletes,
Oh,
right? So
wow.
I mean that's something that we target for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I know that being a student athlete is very difficult and it's an experience that obviously very few people can fully understand. And so I know that, even myself personally, and it's funny, I was pre-med in college and I'm like now in like the med track.
Mhm.
And even, you would think like, oh, it may not translate into like the sciences, but,
Yeah.
things that I learned in athletics definitely translate and just, of being a working professional.
Mhm.
Um,
100%.
so how has being a Black man in the professional space both challenged and inspired you?
Yeah, so I would say it has inspired me, just because I mean you don't really see too many black men or women, I guess, in finance, or I guess really in, if we're being completely honest, really in business, right? Too
Mhm.
much, right? So I'm really trying to make an impact, right, on my community, especially black student athletes, black communities, I guess underserved communities as a whole.
Mhm.
That's something that I'm trying to target. So I mean, just being that pillar or being that resource within my community, that's really inspired me. Um, I would say challenges is kind of just, I mean, normal stereotypical challenges that you might face. Being a black man in business.
Yeah.
I would say um, something. I mean, I always think about, and I mean, just even beyond that, I think that um, appearance, right? That's a big thing, right? You
Mhm.
want to make sure that I guess you're looking the part, and I guess it's difficult to I guess put words to it. I guess exactly, but I mean, you for sure feel like you have to kind of overperform in a way to kind of keep up. I guess
Yeah.
that was the biggest challenge.
So, since there are a lot of barriers and different, challenges that you face in your day-to-day in the
Mhm.
field, what message or advice would you give other Black student athletes or, Black people who are looking to break into the industry in the field?
Yeah, I would just say be confident. The turnover rate in financial advising is very high. Either they can't pass their licensing test, they can't draw enough prospects or kind of whatever it is. So I'd just be say be confident going into every room. Know that I guess in a way you are very, I guess, valuable, right? In the way that you kind of go about things. People always have their eye on you, especially if you establish yourself as a student athlete.
Mhm.
Um, Everyone's going to kind of be watching you. So just making sure that you are putting out the image that you want to be seen as in the world of business, right? Obviously, there's separation between personal life and business life, but business kind of needs to stay business, and then personal life, that could kind of be, what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think athletics, especially, with the confidence and the image that you put forward, do you think athletics have definitely, molded you, shaped you into being, very successful in that sense?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the business world or finance is very competitive,
Mm,
right? So, just having that edge, the ability to kind of stay even keeled, when things are going wrong, right? You're able to kind of focus up a little bit and take control of that situation. I think that goes a very long way. And like I said, just people are always kind of watching you, especially as a student athlete. I know, I mean, I've kind of said that a couple of times already, but that's a very big thing. People really look at that and value that as a recruiter or something, right? So
yeah.
I'm going into leadership, I would say within the next year or so. And I've been to a couple career fairs already, and it's
Mhm.
very easy to spot out student athletes, right? I mean, my managing partner and I, we even have little games. Are like, okay, like what sport does this person play?
Yeah.
So it's very easy to spot them out. Just by the way they walk, they talk, the confidence that they have.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, kind of stepping out of the professional space and I guess the athletic space, what are some, I guess, activities, hobbies, organizations, or causes that you're passionate about, that you're interested in outside of, the workspace?
Yeah. So I don't play basketball as much anymore, just because I had another knee surgery last March.
Mm,
I still wanted to stay in the sport a little bit, so I'm coaching actually over at Corona Centennial. I'm coaching the freshman team, kind of just getting that going and staying in the business a little bit. Um, like I said, I really enjoy impacting different communities, and I've been able to give back, matching funds to my grandpa's nonprofit. He has a international student pantry over at Loma Linda University. Um, One of my trainers, he has a nonprofit for ALS. So I've given back to them as well as just a bunch of different coaches and people close to me. That's kind of where I'm starting, and then after that, I'm starting to branch out a little bit. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I like to do in my free time. Um, yeah, I'd say it's kind of it. I getting into the business, like I said, the turnover rate is very high.
mhm.
So it's a lot of work at first, right? So there's not a crazy amount of free time that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, as someone who I also, pretty recent college grad and now going into the professional like working world, I was very shocked to realize how much work it was and how much
Yeah.
little free time I had. But yeah, it's great that you get to keep doing something that you love. And if I remember correctly, that was your high school, right? That yes, you get to like go give back to that community that's where you started.
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess, we're nearing the end of this episode, and it's been really awesome talking to you. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience? Doesn't have to be sports related or professional. Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah, I would say because I mean this was even me to a certain extent at one point in my career as a student athlete. education really goes a long way, right? I know that it might be hard to see what you want to do, especially if you have your eyes, straight on, being a professional athlete. You can't really see too far past that. But kind of after going through the job search a little bit, I guess a little over a year ago, I realized how valuable that is, right? It's a difference between one job and the other. It's a difference between, $20 an hour and $30 an hour, and stuff like that. And like I said, I mean, you might not necessarily know what you want to do, but having that degree goes a very long way. Like I said, I got my degree in communication, has absolutely nothing to do with finance. Most of the advisors in my office, they don't have business degrees or finance or anything like that. There's actually only one. There's one that has an accounting and finance degree, and he said that, I mean, he learned absolutely nothing, right? That pertains to his actual job, right? So,
Yeah.
I would say education is key. Finish out, even if it is, a major that I guess you're not too happy about, or might not want to necessarily like be in, or go into that field.
Mhm.
Finish it out. That education goes a very long way.
Yeah, I love that message. Um, Great. So you mentioned briefly that you're a financial advisor. For people like myself, do you mind giving us, a brief, I guess, description of what a financial advisor is and what you do?
Yeah, yeah. So, as a financial advisor, I create written financial plans for individuals, families, businesses, to really help them reach their goal, right? So, a financial plan, it could include any combination, or kind of all of it, but direct investments, right? Retirement planning, savings, and budgeting strategies, as well as different ways to use life insurance, right? That is kind of what I guess I do in a nutshell with that. I guess areas that I'm really focusing in, young professionals, the Black community, medical professionals. My girlfriend, she's pre-med right now and kind of going through, I guess, that whole situation. So I've been doing a lot of research
Mhm.
on medical students, just making sure that I guess they do plan the right way. And yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Awesome. I love that. I love that you're reaching out to many different, diverse groups of people, especially when you said medical students, I think it's really interesting because as someone who is going to go to medical school very soon, I am like, I'm not too sure what to do with, like my personal finances, and
Yeah.
medical school is incredibly expensive. And,
Mhm.
I know lots of different groups, especially, like young professionals, they're not really sure. Once you get like thrust into that adult world, you're like, I don't really know. Nothing really prepared me for this.
Yeah.
Um, that's awesome. All right. So thank you, Gio, for being an amazing guest on our show, Alumni Career Talks. You've given our community a really, great interview, but also powerful insight onto what it means to be a Black professional and leader.
Mhm.
All the information from today's episode, including Gio's contact information and the nonprofit organizations that he mentioned, will be linked in this video once it's live. And we also want to say a humongous thank you to our viewers who continue to support CADSA. Stay tuned for more episodes. We look forward to seeing you next.